Yes, I. Just vibes and just vibes. And yes, I. What am I say?
Yes, greetings everyone. In the name of His Majesty Exhibit Kadamawa, highly Selassie, salute you.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Rasiadonis on Just Vibes In. A little quick one here tonight. We are sitting here reasoning on a video that I seen today and I shared with the brother. It's one of our sisters out here on the battlefield doing yeoman's work. You know, Sister Deborah, not our Sister Deborah from the Federation, but another Sister Deborah who is on YouTube. Has a show, if I remember right, it says it's Redacted. It's called Redacted. Go on and check it out. But in the video today we were watching, part of the video touched on the Shroud of Turin and brought up the conversation, age-old conversation. This is not a new conversation, but this conversation took part over 1,000 years ago, and right now we vibes in on it, and we're looking at the Shroud of Turin, which they say is the image of the Messiah of Christ. He was wrapped in that shroud for 3 days and 3 nights before he resurrected. And according to legend, mythology, whatever you want to call it, his image was left on the shroud or piece of cloth that they call a shroud that he was wrapped in. And we know that he died according to chronological teachings of the scriptures. He died at around the age of 33 years old. So if he died at the age of 33 years old, and the image of him on the shroud is supposed to be him, the age-old question is, who authenticated this shroud to say that this is actually authentic from 2,000 years ago? And the other side, if not, who forged this thing? Now, in the video we're talking about that we're seeing today, the sister produced a document from about 1300 and something, with this argument and stating that one accused others of basically forging this shroud to say that is the image of Christ. Now, the question that I asked the brethren when we reasoning on this here this evening before we start the record, and this just vibes one, is I have one question. We don't say, well, who authenticate this? But my question is this. If this is the image of the Messiah, of the one they call Jesus Christ, we call Yeshua HaMashiach, or Jesus Christus. At the age of 33, he was crucified and buried for 3 days and 3 nights. My question is, why the man on the shroud looks so old, if that is a 33-year-old man's image that was left on a shroud from 2,000 years ago? The image on this shroud looks like an old man to me that could be a grandfather. That would be more like, His Majesty in his gray and, woolly looking, grandfather type of look, not a 33-year-old man. So my question is, why does the man on the shroud look so old when Christ was 33 years old? So if one could answer that question, I would be very happy to figure out how that happened.
Why does he look so old?
That's the question.
Why does he look so old? Who authenticated it? And how did they authenticate it? And brother asked me that question. This is Yad in here. Brother asked me that question, and some of you might have seen the video that we had done, I think, a little while ago, a couple of years ago, about the Shroud of Turin. Hopefully we'll get those videos up on the new channel, Rastafari Jews, just so one can see the transition. And when the man said that about why does he look so old, I just thought about it. I said, it does look, old. You know what I mean? And I even mentioned to him, the particular Shroud of Turin. There's two videos. Let me see if I can just bring this up right here. Okay, that's that Juanita Bynum video. Just let people see a quick look at our
That's the video that the document of the Shroud is on. It's combined. It's a combined video with what something she did. So well, we ain't speaking about that.
Yeah, we're not speaking about that video, but still, kind of just point that out right there. The Shroud of Turin. Let's see here if any of the videos come up here. You see what I have in the search up there. Give me one moment. I want to show one-to-ones the video, and they can look at the name and find it out there. Let me just grab that one right there for maybe the still for this video.
Yeah, because the video it's in the one with the what was it, the woman named
Juanita Bynum. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in that video because the image next to her supposed to be the AI representative of what the Shroud of Turin, when it says they ask AI to
make an image
of Christ for Shroud of Turin, and the image on the right is what they said the AI came up with. So that's when she produced the document from I think it's 1300 and something, if I'm like my memory serves me correct, but I know it's at least 1,000 years ago or something like that. The document was from.
Now we know that they've stolen things that were considered to be like relics. That they've stolen many things that were considered to be relics. Hold on for a moment. I'm noticing I'm not finding the same pictures here. I have as a still. Just so the video. Let me just do this right here. Let me back it up one time right here. Okay, give me one moment right here so I can find this video. So yeah, so when you see this, there's the pro and the con, and the yes it is, no it's not. But when the man mentioned that, he says, why does it look so old? It struck me because I was like, when I did the kind of compare, when they compare image, like a face, right? I took the Shroud, right, of Turin. I had that image as a still. And then I took a picture of His Majesty, right? But the picture I took of His Majesty was an older picture. I think he was probably 67, maybe 70 in that picture. Just moderate guess, and so that I said, wow, I didn't use a younger picture, like you said, for the coronation, but I used a older picture, because when I saw the two pictures in my photo gallery, I noticed there was a correspondence between the image that I was seeing on the Shroud and the older picture of His Imperial Majesty. Okay, there's the two videos right there. Let me bring that up right here. So you see this one. It was from 2014. Shroud of Turin, right? Mystery of God on one of the old channels. Selassie and Christ, Biblical Line of Judah Prophecy. So this is one video right there. And then this is the other video, right? This was, let's see, Shroud of Turin image revealed. Image resembles Haile Selassie. Right, then I said the Rastafarians are right. This was like an old video. I think it's from this is 2014 too. Wow, 2014. So the still that you see right there, once we're seeing the live stream, I should have the picture so you can see the picture and the still, and then like the three images like you see sometime. Maybe we'll do that for the still and everything. And so the brother's question about why does the man or the person on the Shroud look so old, it kind of confirmed the fact that even in this 2014 series of videos that I did, right, I saw a correspondence in the image on the Shroud and the older, you see the older picture of Haile Selassie. You know, it's actually one of the pictures where he's sitting at the desk and he's wearing the khaki suit. You know what I mean? The khaki uniform, and everything. I don't know if I have a picture. You see some other ones. Also, behold His Majesty. Looking at some of the other pictures right there. You can see this one. I'm showing them some of the other pictures right here. This one as well. They call it the Pantocrator or the Almighty. What's called in Christianity is the Pantocrator. So that question about why he looks so old, kind of like say, wow, I didn't use a young picture. You know, I didn't even think about using like whether the old or the young. I just saw the two pictures, you know what I mean, look similar. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then the man asks why he looks so old. I was like, well, you got me there. Even if I say, well, look, this looks like His Imperial Majesty. Well, yes, you know, but why is he so old if this is 33? So the man made a very good point. I was saying that we need to take this picture, Shroud of Turin, and like put like make it like a meme. Why does he look so old? If it was at 33, why does he look so old? Maybe someone out there has a better answer than the lack of an answer. I guess it was crickets, right? I give you crickets, right?
Yeah.
I give you crickets for an answer. I was like, you got me on that one right there. Because I saw the thing, but I did use an older picture of His Majesty. Now, there's this right here. Remember the one when His Majesty had went to Jerusalem during the time of the invasion, and he was about to go to the nations, you know, the Gentiles, the Goyim. You know, it says Selassie in Jerusalem talk like Christ. So the Christ connection of His Majesty testified by others other than Rastafari or Rastafarians, as they will want to call us, of Rastafari, is testified to. So I'm not using this video or the other video to say, well, that is the shroud. I don't even know if the shroud is real. But what I have witnessed is that in the European reenactments, you know, they're like the AI. They always make the face like this guy, like some people, you can see the picture there. And when you see what's on the shroud in that picture, it's a big stretch. Because they always show him as a younger, kind of a white-looking man. You know, when they do most of the recreations, right? And the only facial kind of link that I see to that, right, that matches like a real person was an older picture of His Imperial Majesty. As I kind of have showed ones and ones the video, and ones can check that out for themselves. I'll show that right here again. Now, here's what's interesting. I showed this to the brother. If you look up Shroud of Turin and bronze, they did this bronze image. Let me show this right here. They did this bronze image. Here we go right here. They did this bronze, like a three-dimensional. Allegedly, it was taking the shroud, actual shroud, because they said the shroud actually wrapped up, you know, a human being that some say it was the Messiah, was Christ, was Yeshua, was Jesus or Jesus, right, as the Gentiles call him. And this is how the bronze statue looked. Now, it was interesting because this was like bronze, as brass, bronze, and you can see the complexion, you can see the color. You know what I mean? Just to point it out right there, you can see, you know, the color, you know, of brass as it's burnt in the fire. And there was like the feet. I remember they had zoomed in on the feet part, so we used that to go along with the revelation reasoning. So this is like a life, so-called life size, right? And they say the man, according to this, would have been of moderate to more shorter of stature, right? Just the ones to see right there. Moderate to short of stature. But even in this recreation, right, that's said to be based on the actual shroud, there's a few curious things. It seems like his hair is matted, even dreadlock, right? And it seems as though he might have been an older person. The shroud definitely looks older. The bronze image doesn't really bring that out. Does the bronze image that I showed you bring out the older aspect?
Yeah.
It does? Okay.
Not as old as the shroud.
Yeah, because the shroud does.
Yeah, not as old as the shroud, but it does look like somebody who is a little more older
33?
The early 30s, yeah.
Mature.
You know, like the bronze one look like more of, you know, somebody a more, you know, a little more seasoned and, you know.
True.
You know, like 40 going on, you know, like mid 40s or something. I would say the bronze would probably look like.
But still older than 33 is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Way older. I'm showing ones and ones. Notice the hair matting. The matting of the hair, they often, you know, looks almost a little dreadlockish. This one here, I think I sent this one to the eye, the one where you see him laying down with his hand, his left hand over the right hand. That one right there, there's one with the laying down right there, and this is another one right here. And it's interesting that they actually took the shroud and made this three-dimensional. You know what I mean? Which just when you look
at looking at the bronze again, it more look like somebody in the 50s, I would say. More like, you know, like he more in the 50s, like mid to late 50s.
Yeah. You can tell like in the face.
Yeah.
In the face right there, you know. Now, of course, some might say, well, you know, you have some people who are like they, when they're younger, they look older. When they're older, they look younger, you know. But still, the shroud does portray someone that does look very much older. And we proved it by matching. And if you see the video, you'll see a kind of a step-by-step, like the two images were superimposed. So you see one fade into the next, and you can see the important points of features which are similar, which basically shows that the shroud doesn't necessarily have to be, as they say, a white man. I know a lot of people will say it has to be because a lot of people have been programmed to believe that it has to be a white man. Because even the bronze, in some cases, do show, you know, certain melanated black and African people. You know, we have the stereotype of what it means. Look at His Majesty's picture here. You see the one where it says Jesus on the shroud part and His Majesty? Yeah. You can see the features. I'm just saying, let's look at the features. You know, you can see some of the main points of the features. But as the brother mentioned, the pictures that I use here to compare are older pictures. Now, the younger picture looks like the Pantocrator. You know, the black and white one. You see the one that's like the black and white? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not one for one, but it does lend support and credence that the image that they were portraying doesn't necessarily have to be like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. You know, that's the point right there. So I'm also showing this other one right here where they have a younger picture of His Majesty as well, you know, kind of lined up. The throne picture right there. Now, did I send you the throne picture? I don't know if I sent you the throne picture.
No.
The one where, let me see this right here. Let's just do this because this is how we do right here. Let me go right here. So yeah, the Juanita Bynum. Yeah, that one was a wild one. Definitely check that one out. Give the channel again. What's the channel called again?
The channel is called Redacted.
Redacted. Go check out Redacted. So here, I just sent you this one. I'm just scrutinizing. Our next brother had actually did that one right there. You know, like kind of lining it up. But that's the carnation. Remember how you were saying the carnation? Because what I'm looking at is the cheeks. You see where the cheeks are? You see that line in the cheeks?
Yeah.
You know, there's that line in the cheeks. You see how the brow looks? I'm just looking at this point of correspondence right there. You know what I mean? But there are some other aspects of it that does infer an older man. Okay, there we have the Abba Caduce pictures. You know, and I think it's very credible that the Abba Caduce pictures are His Majesty. You know, I cannot be conclusive because, you know, we're studying pictures here. But the evidence...
Okay, let me correct that real quick. It's the page is called Redirecting Proverbs.
Oh, okay. Redirecting Proverbs. There's a number behind it? Is that Proverbs 31?
Redirecting Proverbs 31, School of Wisdom.
Okay, she's going to the virtuous woman, the SHROUD. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's a channel. Redirecting Proverbs 31 School of Wisdom. Sister Deborah. Yeah. Hopeful sister, you know, on the battlefield out there working hard.
Yep, yep. Now, think about this for a moment. Now, this is not to justify the Shroud of Turin. You know what I mean? We don't have any investment in no relics or whatever. But this is just a reason on this. That after the Moshiach, according to the narrative, according to the scripts, according to the Bible, right? After he was resurrected, when it says, and God resurrected him, right? After he was resurrected, right? And he walked around. Doesn't the Bible hint that ones didn't immediately recognize him? Some didn't recognize him?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that right there because you see the one that you were studying before? I sent you the one, the 3-1, the one that had the 3 right there. When I see the one that looks more like flesh-like, like a little more lifelike right there, right? You can see the transitions that make it seem like a younger man, right? Like almost like the man was young like that, right? Like the one that has a little bit of color, a little bit of browning to it. And then as he got older is the center one. And then as he was older is the one on the left. You know what I mean? It's almost like a transition from the right, the picture at the far right, to the center picture. It's like an age progression. It seems as though they are seeking to portray the same facial structure, physiognomy, but it still makes the Shroud one appear older. You know what I mean? The Shroud one still looks older. It's almost like that's him as old. The one in center was him maybe 20 years or, 15 to 20 years. And then maybe another 15 to 20 years. Like a 15 to 20 year roughly.
In each of them. Yeah, in each phase.
And that doubles, that just helps us double down right here. Double down right here on why does the man, and I say the man, right? That's assumed or believed by those some, right? Some dismiss it. Some were doubting it from the 13th century. You know what I mean? Some say that was painted. There's all these different debates about this and that. Like one can see the book right here. That they say the Shroud of Turin speaks for itself. Does it? They say evidence proving the authenticity of the shroud, and that there's a site there for one's realdiscoveries.org. But still, to suffice it to say right here, why does the shroud, right, the man on the shroud, right, or the Jesus, quote unquote, on the shroud look so old? Why is Jesus so old on the shroud, of Turin? Just a question. If anybody has any good scriptural biblical answers, I'm pointing to the nearest that I can see if we say there's a legitimacy to the shroud, right? I think it's interesting, the 3-dimensional bronze, just to see it in bronze brings out a little more of his humanity, to see it in bronze, but still there's some serious questions of the age of the shroud. So any of y'all have any answers to that? Why does the shroud look so old? Right? Or any other information? People got any information out there that can explain that, or something that you heard, that kind of explains that? Could it be that when Christ was crucified, died and was put in the tomb for the 3.5 days, and between the time of his dying, being put in the tomb, and the resurrection 3 days later, somehow he aged? Could it be that he aged, and this is the one reason why ones didn't recognize him? Notice that they thought he was a stranger. There's a couple of cases. Mary, remember Mary too? Mary in the garden, Mary Magdalene. She in the garden, what the Bible says, she thought that he was a gardener. Or did she say, I don't know whether she said that, I'm just asking a question, we're just reasoning. This old man, who's this old man right here? Do you know where they put my Lord? Old man.
You say a gardener, and in them days a gardener is not a old man.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Huh? You know, maybe. Listen, you gotta find work where you find work. You know what I mean? You know, you have to find the work where you can find the work. You know, but that's all I have on this one right here. The whole Shroud of Turin thing, right there. Why does the shroud? You know, the shroud seems to match Haile Selassie, right? The face, and we did that already in those videos we pointed out, as an old man. My brother asks, why does the face on the Shroud of Turin look so old? And what sense does this make? Can we make sense out of this?
Because there is no authenticity backing that this is actually the shroud that he was wrapped in from 2,000 years ago. Now, not saying it's not 2,000 years old. This thing might be older than 2,000 years old. We don't know. This is the whole thing we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out who is on this thing they call the Shroud of Turin. Whose image is actually on this thing. Because they're saying it's the image of the Messiah of Christ, who died at 33 years old. And this man and he look like he traced that, you know? So
99.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He don't look 33. He look like he's 99.
Look like a man you could call the Ancient of Days, you know, look like somebody that's been here for a while.
And look how they fool the people. They use the white picture to try to say, and it's a young white guy. It's a very much young, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You know, so we're tricking people, and like before we start recording, I said to the brother, I said, listen, you know, by looking at the age of this picture right here and saying this is the image of the Messiah died at the 33, they might as well tell me this was Melchizedek. I'd have less of an argument if you tell me this is a picture of Melchizedek. You know, because we don't have the argument about who Melchizedek is already amongst all kind of people. So, that, you know, I'd have been more comfortable with that one day.
You know,
but I say, I ain't telling people that this is not the image of whoever they say it is, and I'm not telling you it is. We ain't here to take side on this issue right now. We just asking if this is the picture of the Messiah who died at age 33. Why does this image look so old?
Why?
Why?
In fact, I went to the Wikipedia page, like Shroud of Turin, and looked at the Wikipedia page. It said the documented history of the shroud dates back to 1354. So that's at least over 1,200 years after the approximate time of the crucifixion, when it was exhibited in the new Collegiate Church of Liray, a village in north-central France. The shroud was denounced as a forgery by the Bishop of Troyes, right, Pierre de Acris, in 1389. It was acquired by the House of Savoy in 1453 and later deposited in a chapel in Chambéry, where it was damaged by fire in 1532. In 1578, the Savoys moved the shroud to their new capital in Turin. Wait. So you call it the Shroud of Turin, but wait, who's the first, where it first come from? It was acquired, it was exhibited. No, it was exhibited. I mean, they showed it in the College Church of Liray. And then it was denounced as a forgery, and then the House of Savoy. So can we call this the Shroud of Savoy? But they had a new capital they moved to. This is where the name come from, where it has remained ever since. Since 1683 has been kept in the chapel of the Holy Shroud. Clever, right? You know, like, I mean, you know, what else we can call it? You know, the Holy Shroud, which was designed for that purpose by architect Guarino Guarini. Did he make up that name? Guarino Guarini. Check that out. Guarino Guarini. And which is connected to both the Royal Palace and the Turin Cathedral. So these people were like big people, right? ownership of the shroud passed from the House of Savoy to the Catholic Church. After the death of the former king, Umberto II, guess when this former king died? 1983. So the Catholic Church acquired it in 1983, right? And, they go to carbon dating, and they say that, they believe it's from the medieval period in Europe and not from the time of Jesus. There's all this controversy around it, so forth and so on. One can go to their history. I just wanted to scroll through the page and see if there was like, any like, are they disputing? Are they disputing this particular image? The Vatican, I guess, has a positive position on it. And the Vatican, no doubt, they're into these relics. Okay, scientific analysis. Syndonology. Syndon is a word used in the gospel to describe burial cloth of Jesus, the syndon, right? And here they say, let me get to any highlights. Well, they don't really, they just say they studied it. Let's see, first direct examination was in the 1960s to 73. Notice they studied from 1969 to 1973. Let's see. I'm waiting for conclusions. They don't want to give a definitive. Here, the radiocarbon dating has established that the shroud is medieval. That means sometime in the 1000s, 13, 10, 12, coming up to 13, and not from the time of Yeshua or Jesus, right? It's a very questionable thing, but of course there's probably others, historical fabrics. They go into the fabrics, like the blood stains, some people try to say it's pigment, and yeah. So anyway, if people want any more on this, I thought they would have like, people who say yes, this is why they said yes. The people who said no, this is why they said no, and then we can take that up right there. But I think we have a good question here, bro. Some say it's a painting, right? Some say it's medieval photography. Some talk about all this kind of, science that I don't know if they had it back then. Like it's scientific. Others say because of that, there's some miraculous, and they believe that, fringe theories. There's some fringe theories, on it. But I think the main thing is that they keep this in play. You know what I mean? For those Christians that, I guess, need a relic. You know what I mean? Need some sort of proof. You know what I mean? And what you think, y'all?
Well, another thing too, before we close out, the way that they treat this shroud, right? Correct me if I am wrong on this. The way they treat this shroud, right? This a form of idolatry, man. It's a question.
Oh, that's a good question. I would say yes. I would say yes in the sense of, but then here's the yay-sayers would say that, well, this was produced, according to the belief, this was produced by the Messiah during that time of the miraculous resurrection. No one witnessed it, but you know how one might imagine it. You know what I mean? God is spirit, God is light. You know what I mean? So could this have photographed on the cloth, right? And that God actually left this image. I've heard that reasoning, and there's some persuasive and maybe convincing things about that reasoning. But then, that's only if it's actually what it claims to be. You know what I'm saying? That's only if God did this for his son, according as it's written in the Bible. Okay, yeah. Right? But it's just kind of interesting. It just pops up, in the 1300s up in France, and I think that I might like this one here, the whole Mary Magdalene narrative, of Mary Magdalene and some of the descendants going to parts of Europe and France
Yeah.
and stuff. I've heard the other one that actually this was taken there by ones like Mary Magdalene in France. There seems to be a France and England ancient connection with the people of the time of the Bible. It appears that in the biblical times they knew Spain as Tarshish, they knew about England, and they knew about parts of France. Those parts of the world are kind of close. If you look at them, it's like going from New York to Oregon. You know what I mean? Can somebody do it? Yes, they can. Does everybody do it? No. But can some people travel that far? Yes. So that's the only plausible theory behind that. This is with the exception of not being able to examine it and not having our own ways to authenticate or to disauthenticate. You know what I mean? But if it's not the shroud, right? And even if it is the shroud because of the doubt, one should make less hype off of it. I personally like the fact that we're where we're at, bro. You know what I mean? That we just can examine it. It's not like it's a part of our church. It's not like it's a proof that we use to back up our faith. But those that use this now to back up their faith or to justify or to bring the sinner to the truth, that would be idolatry. You know what I mean? That would be idolatry there. You know what I mean? Even if it were the real image, as people who believe that it is the real image, to use it as, oh, look, this is the proof. This is how we know. That's because what does the commandment say? Right? Like not to make any image of anything in the heavens, on earth, under the earth, and to bow down and to worship it. The point is to make an image to God. And it appears from those who point out the forgery sense of it, the fraudulent sense of it, that someone might have used techniques, even advanced techniques. You know what I'm saying? Because those that say that there are advanced techniques, that this must have been done, photography, reverse image, dual transfer, this, that, the next thing, it shows that back then, people no doubt did have individuals and groups of individuals, you know what I mean? Like you and me, we study things. We might be brilliant. We might develop a camera back in our time, you know what I mean? But then after we're no longer on the scene, we didn't publish it. We didn't make cameras. We didn't go into business. You know what I'm saying? People find these pieces of metal and glass and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And they don't know what it is. They throw it away. Then later on, the camera comes out. So I think that technology we have now, they had the technology in past times, but not universally distributed, like we do. We buy things and people have copies and people can study, not like this, but that there were brilliant people, people who had knowledge and people who might have got techniques from other beings.
It's like the way that the religious order operated back in the day, where is the one who in the hierarchy of the religious order would be the one who would come and read the scrolls and the scriptures to the people and things, and they would not really have access to these things like that, so they would have to listen to these people. It's similar with the technology, from my understanding, with how you speak in there, that is only a hierarchy of people who had access to some of these things. These things was not readily available to just common and regular people, So there was some high-tech technology back in them days there as well, but it wasn't something like now today you could, somebody invent something and after a couple of years everybody could go and purchase this thing, It wasn't like that, because I remember back then, it wasn't in a world where commerce was, worldwide like this, we live in like a society of just pure commerce right now, we just buying, check, so.
Yeah, people not developing.
Like that back then, Yeah, so, because remember, these archaeologists and these people going up around the world digging up stuff, they finding things they can't explain, We're in 2024 going on 2025 and they find anything they can't explain. We're supposed to be the most technologically advanced and smartest people to ever live. And we're finding things from thousands of years ago that they can explain or figure out how it was made.
That go back to the shroud thing again.
Okay. All right.
And that goes to the shroud thing, and not to dismiss it. Like I hold to what the brother says right there. Right, I'm looking at the evidence, for and against, and trying to make sense out of the evidence for myself. But another theory can be that we go back to Enoch. You know what I mean? Like, if this is a fake, then a lot of work has been done to produce a fake. And we have to ask ourselves, what kind of person would do that? Or what kind of people would do that if it is a fake? You know what I mean? And if it is the real thing, you know what I mean? What does it mean? And can we ask the question, why does he look so old?
But in my head, there's another scenario as well. Like I said, when we were reasoning, I mentioned earlier, like if you tell me this is Melchizedek, I could have.
Oh, might be somebody else?
This is why he's saying this could be something that they found and realized that this was something of anciency, and they didn't know who it was, but they could relate this to the Messiah, and